Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I've been a member of YouTube for over a year now, and I've watched many videos. A good portion of those videos have been religious in nature. And I've seen a proposition. I've seen videos about it. I've seen comments about it. I've actually dealt with it in private messages. And the proposition is that the Bible is an axiom. And what is meant by that claim is that the Bible is absolute truth. It contains no errors. It's perfect. It has no contradictions. That is an axiom. Now it appears that the individuals making the claim that the Bible is an axiom do so because it relinquishes their obligation to defend it. See, axioms are not proven. They are simply accepted. They are the starting point for deductive reasoning. And so if an individual is able to successfully make the claim that the Bible is an axiom, then they have no obligation to defend that position. However, I do not believe that the Bible qualifies as an axiom. See, axioms have two main points to them. They have two properties. First of all, they are self-evident. In other words, they're intuitively obvious. Any individual confronted with an axiom who is rational will accept its truthfulness. And secondly, the denial of an axiom is self-refuting. In other words, in order for me to deny an axiom, I must actually use the axiom as a premise for my denial of it. Let me demonstrate. If we take the most basic of all axioms, that existence exists, in order for me to deny that existence exists, I must first accept that existence does exist. See, how could I deny something if I do not exist? So my denial of the axiom becomes self-refuting. Now, we hear a lot about axioms in mathematics. If you remember back to your days of geometry or trigonometry, you may recall Euclid's axioms. There are 5 of them. However, these are not true axioms. And the reason they are not true axioms is because they don't comply with the second property. If I deny these propositions, I am not forced to accept them in my denial of them. Additionally, we know that Euclid's axioms aren't even true in a four-dimensional universe. If you recall Euclid's first axiom, that from any 2 points it is possible to draw a straight line, we know that that statement is not applicable in a four-dimensional universe, because if Einstein is correct in his theory of general relativity that space-time is warped or it is curved, then from any 2 points it is not possible to draw a straight line. So these aren't really axioms at all, they are postulates. And I believe that the Bible is also not an axiom because it does not comply to the second property. Its denial is not self-refuting. So you can call it a postulate, a first principle, or a presupposition. Now the thing about presuppositions is the individual using the presupposition in the argument must defend that position. And if he or she does not defend it, then his or her argument is weak. Now, where exactly do presuppositions come from? Well, I believe that they come from one of 2 places. First of all, they come through the process of inductive reasoning. See, these presuppositions cannot be deduced, so they must be induced. If I take the premise that all men are mortal, how is it that I know all men are mortal? I cannot deduce that statement. However, history has demonstrated that all men eventually die. And I have firsthand knowledge of this because people who have been very close to me have died. So therefore, I believe that all men are mortal. Can I prove it? I can't. Because there may exist someone alive today or someone in the future who may not be mortal. So instead, I can only state with a certain certainty or probability that the presupposition is true. Now, the second place that presuppositions come from is dogma. And that is what we have when someone says that the Bible is an axiom. It is a dogmatic presupposition. Now, the problem with dogmatic presuppositions is they are not open to evidential claims. If I was to provide evidence that the Bible contains errors, contradictions, flaws, I will likely receive one of two responses from a presuppositionalist. And that is, one, they will either create this elaborate explanation that is absurd as to why my evidence is wrong, or else they will simply dismiss that evidence, saying something like, well, you just don't understand. See, you are a natural man. It's impossible for a natural man to understand the things of the Spirit of God because they are spiritually discerned. You do not have the mind of Christ, so therefore you can't possibly understand. This, of course, is an irrational and absurd claim, but it's one that I hear quite frequently. So I think I'll leave it at that. I'm running out of time. I welcome all of your comments, and I will talk to you later.